Buda Castle, the nearly 800 years old historic building complex, located on the plateau of the 80-meter high Castle Hill, is one of the oldest and most visited attractions in Budapest, which has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1987. The castle, which originally meant only a medieval fortress surrounded by walls, was built by King Beda IV following the Mongol invasion in 1242. It was soon extended with a dwelling quarter, public buildings, churches, monasteries, and by the 14th century, it had developed into a flourishing medieval town. Following the construction of the royal palace, in the early 1400s it became a permanent royal seat. The golden age of the medieval castle was during the reign of King Matthias in the 15th century. His celebrated royal court was one of the great centers of Renaissance art and sciences in Europe. His legacy is the well-known Matthias Church, where he was crowned as king, and also held his 2 weddings. In 1541 the castle was taken by the Turks, who then controlled most of Hungary for 150 years. The Turks converted the churches into mosques, and transformed the decent medieval castle into a fortified oriental town. The castle was recaptured from the Turks in 1686 by the allied forces of the Holy League, led by the Habsburg Charles V, Duke of Lorraine. This victory also marked the beginning of the Habsburg rule over the whole Hungarian kingdom. The castle, which had been almost entirely devastated during the siege, was rebuilt in Baroque style during the 1700s. The revival of the town was interrupted several times by various catastrophes, such as the epidemic of plague in 1691 and the Great Fire in 1723. By the end of the 18th century the new royal palace had been built, and Hungary was ruled from here by the Palatines, the governors of the Habsburg rulers in Hungary. During the peaceful second half of the 19th century, the castle had seen one of the greatest revivals of its history. The modest civil homes were transformed into rich noble palaces, the royal palace was enlarged, the tunnel and the funicular were built, Matthias Church regained its medieval Gothic style, and the gloomy walls behind it were replaced by the Fisherman's Bastion. The highlight of this period was the 1867 coronation of Franz Joseph I in Matthias Church, which sealed the compromise and marked the beginning of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Although the empire collapsed in the First World War, and the Hungarian kingdom left without a king, the new Hungarian government administration, led by Governor Miklós Horthy, remained in the castle. His revisionist politics, which aimed to regain the territory of the great Hungarian kingdom lost in the First World War, prompted him to ally with Germany, which swept Hungary into the Second World War. The Siege of Budapest, which started in April 1944 with the British-American air raids, was followed by the Soviet blockade, which by January 1945 had swept the Nazi troops out of Pest. The castle, which accommodated the military headquarters with 40,000 troops, remained the last line of defense. The Red Army bombed the castle for days, destroying the majority of its buildings. Thousands fled to the caves underneath the castle, which earlier had been converted into air raid shelters and a hospital. On the 11th of February 1945, the 40,000 troops tried to break out from their hopeless position, when 20,000 of them were killed, and the rest were taken prisoners. Finally, on the 13th of February 1945, the Red Army occupied the castle, and the war in Budapest was over. The post-war communist regime relocated the government administration from the castle. Its buildings and the former noble palaces were distributed among various cultural institutions. To date, as a result of the large-scale rehabilitation project of the castle, numerous historic buildings have been rejuvenated or resurrected. The Hungarian president moved to the castle in 2002. He was followed by the Hungarian Prime Minister in January 2019. Reinstating the castle as the seat of the Hungarian government.